Welcome students of class 11. It is also an offline video on the equilibrium. Now already we have discussed on the Le Chatelier principle on the online classes. Now it is also a very important part of this chapter. So it is a offline video on this on brief. It is a brief discussion on the Le Chatelier principle, which is very important part of this chapter. So, what is before Le Chatelier principle? We have the concept of equilibrium constant and the equilibrium parameters, etc., and the relation also between the equilibrium constants. Now, after that, it is the Le Chatelier principle. So, the reactions attains equilibrium at a fixed condition or some certain condition is there. What is this? The temperature, pressure and the concentration. These are the optimum condition, you may say. So at a certain temperature the reaction attains equilibrium for any specific any specific reaction. So when this condition of stability is destabilized, hear it carefully, when the condition of equilibrium is destabilized by any one method or any one reason, then what happens? The reaction will be adjusted to such a direction, or the rate will be changed to such a direction that the reaction further moved on equilibrium. That is, it was in equilibrium, the middle is the destabilized position, and after changing the condition the destabilization is arise. Now it is the reaction's own capability to regain, to reach the equilibrium again. So this is about the Le Chatelier principle. So what is the principle? Le Chatelier principle tells that if a system under equilibrium, if a system under equilibrium be subject to a change in temperature, pressure and concentration, then the equilibrium shift itself, that is the reattaining, that is the chance of reattaining the equilibrium, that is, then the system shifts itself in such a way so as to undo or neutralize the effect of change. So in the last statement or in the last syntax we have come to know that it is the reaction's own capability, right? Now after that we have discussed on the different change in the temperature, pressure and concentration, and also the addition of catalyst. Now when the change in concentration, suppose the concentration of reactant is high than that of the product in any reaction. Suppose in the reaction of just Fe3 plus HCN minus Fe HCN 2 plus. If this is the situation, then the concentration of reactants is higher, that is the number of moles is higher in this side, and as the number of moles is higher, in average the concentration is assumed to be higher, and in the product side it is less. Now when we increase the concentration of any one reactant, then what happens? To diminish the concentration or to decrease the concentration of that reactant, reaction will move to produce the compound. Suppose Fe3 plus concentration is increased. Now to decrease the concentration of Fe3 plus, what reactions will do? That increase the production of Fe3 plus ion, and by this way the concentration of Fe3 plus in the reactant side will be minimized. So it is about the change in concentration. Next one is the change in the temperature. So we know the second condition, that is when the reaction evolves heat. When a reaction evolves heat, then it is a exothermic reaction, and when heat energy is required to occur the reaction, then it is an endothermic reaction. Now there are two cases, that is for exothermic and for endothermic. Now for exothermic reaction, if we increase the temperature of the system, then what happens? The reaction will be moved to the backward direction. Why? Because as the heat energy is evolving after the reaction, increasing the temperature will lower down the rate of the reaction, and so the reverse reaction will be higher. Suppose one example, that is nitrogen gas plus 3 hydrogen gas 2 NH3 gas, delta H is equal to 92.7 kilojoule. So minus sign indicate it is evolving, that is the exothermic one. So here it is an exothermic reaction. Now if we increase the temperature, then it is the increasing of a temperature. Now increase of temperature will be revert back to this side, that is backward direction will take place. That is the reaction will move to the backward direction, because here heat energy is required. Here heat energy is evolving, here heat energy is less. So in the product side, as it is higher heat amount, so reaction will move back to the reverse side. Another one reaction for, it is for exothermic. For endothermic N2 plus O2 2NO. Here delta H equal to plus 102 kilojoule. So in this side, here heat energy is required because the reaction is endothermic. As it is endothermic reaction, so increasing of temperature, here temperature is less in the product side, so reaction will move in the forward direction. So from these two examples we can generalize that for an exothermic reaction, if we increase the temperature, then reaction will be moved to the backward direction, and for the endothermic reaction, if we increase the temperature, then reaction will move to the forward direction. So by using this characteristics of equilibrium, we can adjust the suitable condition. We can adjust the suitable condition at what condition, or at what the value, at what will be the value of the temperature or the concentration, so that the yield will be maximum. That is the usability or the effectivity of the reaction will be maximum. So it is the aspect of change in temperature. Next one is the change of pressure. Here also we will have to consider the number of moles. Now there is one concept, is that we know the gas affects the volume to the maximum quantity to the gas. That is the pressure having the effect, that is the change of pressure having the maximum effect on the gaseous system. So here the gaseous system will be under consideration, and for solid and also liquid there is the less effect of pressure. Now for a gaseous system, that is for a gaseous system and with change in pressure, we may take the same example. Here all the system are in gases, right? So increase in pressure shift the equilibrium. Increase in pressure shift the equilibrium. Here number of moles equal to 4. Here number of moles equal to 2. So the increase in pressure at the equilibrium in the direction of decreasing gaseous moles. So if we increase the pressure at the left side, that is reactant side, here the number of moles is less, so reaction will move to the forward direction. And decrease in pressure shift the equilibrium in the direction of increasing gaseous moles. So if we decrease the pressure, then reaction will move to the backward direction. The examples are, just follow the example. I have given this example on the online classes also. That is N2O4. N2 plus O2 2NO. This one I will be discussed on this further on. but N2O4 reversible sign 2NO2, right? And another one example, that is PCl5 PCl3 plus Cl2. So here number of moles, that is 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So these are of same kind. Another example we may have to take, here the number of moles in the product reactant side will be higher and that in the product side will be less. Just the opposite of that. That is, if we reverse back, as it is a equilibrium, that is PCl5, it is in equilibrium, we may write it down by reverse side also, that is PCl3 plus Cl2 PCl5. So here number of moles equal to 2, here 1. So these are the three areas or three sides we have to consider. So in the first one case, what happened? Number of moles here, in the number of moles is 1, here 2. So if we increase the pressure, backward direction, if we increase the pressure, then backward direction, that means reaction will move to the N2O4 side. That is, here number of moles is higher, here number of moles is less. If we increase the temperature here, here number of moles is higher, so reaction will move in the forward direction because here number of moles is less. In the first one case, what will happen? The result is that there is no effect of change in pressure. Why? Because the number of moles in both the side, that is in the reactant and product side, is same. So very important is the number of moles on the reactant and the product, right? So this is the change in pressure. Now the two areas where, one is the addition of catalyst. We have told that catalyst only speed up the reaction, then there is no effect of change in catalyst concentration. And the next one is the addition of inert gas. When addition of inert gas on the constant volume, there is no effect. When inert gas is added at constant pressure, then there will be two areas where it can affect, because pressure, that means it comes from the partial pressure. Now come to the next area, that is application of Le Chatelier principle to physical system, right? Now when we take a concentration on the production of ammonia, then we can see that the number of moles in the product side is less and at is the reactant side is higher. So if we increase the concentration, that is, it is also the a Le Chatelier criteria or Le Chatelier principle, that if we increase the concentration, then what happens? Reaction will move to the forward direction, because in the forward direction, that is in the ammonia, here 2 moles of ammonia is formed, so reaction will move in the forward direction. So we have to take a higher concentration of nitrogen and hydrogen gases in the production of ammonia. It is the application of Le Chatelier principle. Next one, if we increase the pressure. So if we increase the pressure in this reaction, then the number of moles in the reactant side is also higher. So and that of the product side is less. So the pressure in the reactant side increases the concentration, and for this reason it will move to the forward direction. It is also from the Le Chatelier principle. So these are the favorable condition or of the optimum condition when we get the greater yield. Next is the application of Le Chatelier principle in physical equilibrium. That is application of Le Chatelier principle in physical equilibrium. This part is discussed on the class of 11 second batch, but in the first batch this part is still not, it have to be discussed because of the power cut on the previous session. So first of all, it is the melting of ice. Melting of ice. So what is the equilibrium? That is ice to water. Now here the change in temperature. So temperature and pressure. Now from ice to water, it is a endothermic reaction, and what is the, that is delta H is equal to, the value of delta H is equal to 6 kilojoule per mole. 6 kilojoule per mole, right? So here heat energy is required. So if we increase the temperature, just take the knowledge from the previous one, that it will move the direction from the ice to water, because the increase in temperature, here increases temperature is required to go to the forward direction, and if we decrease the temperature, then from water to ice this process will be faster. So it is the effect of change in temperature. Next one is the pressure. Now ice having the less affected by pressure than that of the water. So when we increase the pressure of the system, that is the increase the pressure of water and also that of the ice, that is the equilibrium system, then what happens, the ice will go to the water side. It is the physical effect of changing in pressure and change in temperature. Next one is the water vapor equilibrium. Water vapor equilibrium, and the physical process is that evaporation of water, evaporation or water vapor equilibrium. So water to vapor, it is also an endothermic reaction. Delta H is equal to for this reaction it is equal to 40.6 kilojoule. So it when we increase the temperature, the favorable is that from water to vapor. And what is the effect of pressure? Now pressure, the vapor phase, that is the gaseous phase. So the vapor having the volume is maximum affected by the effect of pressure. If we increase the pressure, the concentration of vapor will be less than that of the water, because water is less affected than gas. So the concentration will be lower here and that of the higher here. So reaction will move in the forward direction if we increase the pressure. So this is the change in pressure. Next one is the dissolution of solid in liquid. Dissolution. So dissolution is the process of dissolving any solid substance. Dissolution of solid in liquid. Right? Now all time the dissolution undergo a change in heat content. So heat content, that is exothermic or endothermic term. So as there is a change in heat content according to the favorable condition, that is heat is required or heat is evolved, the change in temperature will affect in such a direction. That is how to minimize the change. That is, if we increase the temperature or decrease the temperature, then how to minimize the change. So if the system is endothermic, that means heat is required, then increasing temperature made forward reaction faster. So it is also a general concept to us that that is in an endothermic reaction, if we increase the temperature, reaction will move to the forward direction, and for an exothermic, if we increase the temperature, reaction will move back to the backward direction. So these are the areas where the physical system are affected by, or the optimum condition under which, or the general expression that when the pressure is increased, the ice will melt faster, right? So these are the different conditions or different areas where Lysaght-Elliott principle affects the reaction or tells us about the reaction, right? And previous we have told that the reaction in the case of gaseous system also, that is in the chemical state. Next state is the ionic equilibrium, right? Now this portion will be discussed later on, but I am giving a short description of that. What is ionic equilibrium? Now for an example, a salt, that is sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is a electrovalent compound. You have the concept from the last class, that is class 10. Now, as it is an electrovalent compound, there is only the electrostatic force, that is the magnetic force you may say, or electrostatic force due to the two poles on the particles, that is sodium particle and the chloride particle in the crystal structure. Right? Now for this reason, that is for the electrostatic force, there is tough binding in the crystal structure. But what happens when we dissolve it, that when we add solvent here, and the solvent or the compound having large affinity towards the solvent, then what happens, the bonding, that is the bond between the two poles or the two charged particles, is diluted, and there is a different bonding with the solvent molecule will occur, and it is known as the dissolution or also the dissociation. In another term, it is known as the equilibrium between the solid and liquid. Suppose AB. Suppose AB is an electrovalent compound, AX. When it dissociates, then it produces A plus X minus. So in the solvent medium, it having equilibrium with that of the solvent molecule. That is, it is the pure component and it is the dissociated part. So what it tells about that both the reactions are ongoing. That means at a time AX will dissociate to produce A plus and X minus, and at the same time A plus X minus will combine to produce AX, and this sign indicates that they are in equilibrium. That is, dissociation of AX equal to the combination of A plus and X minus to produce the AX. So this is ionic equilibrium. On the next class, that is in the online session, I will discuss on the physical properties, and then with the ionic equilibrium, that is what is ionic equilibrium, and later on the Oswald dilution rule, and then the acid base principle. So today up to this part, that is only the revision of Le-Chatelier principle and also its application to physical equilibria, mainly the gaseous system and liquid system. So keep carrying on the study, follow the YouTube videos and also the online classes. We hope it will be better for you in this pandemic situation. Now waiting for the next class. So till then, have a good time for all of you. Thank you.